You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
Gotta mix it up, baby. Mix it up. It's all in the wrist, baby. It's all in the wrist.
Bring back that beat,
Yeah.
DJ Licious. So that's why I was running late, man. Is
You trying to get a prop?
this Amish friendship bread. Wilkes, you might be familiar with it.
I am.
So my daughter and I had, when you're dealing with that yeast, baby.
Hey, you got to be
on
careful.
it.
You got to be on it. Especially if it's active yeast. You got to be with it.
Yeah. What's up, fellas?
What's up?
107 temp, water temp.
Yeah, that's right. And I like to rock at about 110 though, baby.
Yeah. 110 is it.
That way, by the time I pour it in the bowl,
it's good.
It's about 107, 108.
Yeah, it's dropping quick.
Yes, sir.
Man.
All right. Well, we back again with another great episode of the Fourcast.
It's the incredible round animal, the public enemy number one, 507 freeze.
Oh,
Come on, H-Rap, get with me, baby. You know, still cat with the rap.
Yeah.
I know you looking all studious with your glasses and shit, and you're all educated. You got your drip on your wrist and shit.
$69 watch, man. Ain't nothing more.
Out of the Mervin's case. I ain't mad at you.
Mervin's, California.
Mervin
baby.
had to watch it.
My mama used to stay in Mervin. I couldn't stand Mervin's, and the same reason I can't stand cold.
I got stuck in the Husky section.
Huh?
I got stuck in the Husky section.
Yeah, I'm still stuck in the motherfucking Husky section. Yeah. See, we just like kids, man. We ain't been here. We miss each other too, man. We just be acting up like kids that ain't seen each other in a long time. Man.
Right. Oh, man.
But man, we back again. Been a minute. 2 weeks. 2 weeks since we did a live show. We did play some pre-recorded shows, so if you guys check those out. But tonight we're back with another great episode as we reviewed movies, documentaries, films from the Black community like nobody else can do it. And tonight we're reviewing Descendant, a great documentary recommended by A-Trap. We appreciate your input. And this one is really deep. I don't know if we hit something.
That's the whole. We're not gonna say great.
No, I said deep.
Oh no! At first you said this great documentary referred by A-Trap. Did I miss that?
I think
I think so. Let's hold the great till later on.
But how y'all doing tonight? A-Trap, how you doing first?
I'm here. I'm making it.
He gonna be better than here after this over. It's too much energy not to feel it, not to absorb it. He gonna be more than here when it's over with.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I'm good. Doing all right. Looking at this game over here, ain't looking too good for.
Y'all see how that ball looking on the screen?
Yeah, that's weird.
It's probably because
it's green.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mountain Dew, that'll get y'all. They holler at me. Shit, I'm just doing it over here.
Wow. Yeah, I was like, what's up with that bottle? But it's like, it's green.
Yeah. All right. Doc, you pretty much said how you doing. I don't even.
Yeah, you can see.
I don't even.
Since the green bottle won't show up, we can start drinking our Mickey's Big Mouth.
Yeah,
nobody will know what's going down.
Big Mickey's ready.
or the Heineken, either one, however you want to do it.
Yeah, you ain't gonna notice. Yeah.
We got Knox in the building. Thank you for tuning in. Happy New Year to you as well. We got Chief Rocker
Vernon,
as always.
Vernon. You talking about that's you, Doc? Yeah, that's me.
All right, so Descendant, as we kind of get into some initial thoughts, and this is actually directed, Wilkes pointed this out, this is directed by Higher Ground, which is the Obamas, their film company. And I'm assuming Questlove has something to do with this because I seen a panel.
I saw he was a producer.
Maybe that Questlove was sitting down, and I felt like he had something to do with this too.
I thought it was Ice Cube because he played in that movie High Ground Hill. I didn't know that High Learning.
High Learning.
Close.
Well,
it was that close, but not quite. Not quite.
Hey,
swinging
more ticketing. You just get close here. They don't care if you get it right on. Just get close.
But A-Trap, talk about this one. What was your initial thoughts? And you recommended it too to the group.
No, it was just it was a book. It was initially a book. They spoke about the book by Zona Neale Hurston. Yeah. And it was a super dope book, Barracoon, and they did a great job in regards to the documentary expressing how she they basically did one of the few times they've taken a book and put it on film and made it actually what the book was about. So it was super dope. And then it was good to see the people, the dialogue that you had. And one of my favorite parts is when they kept his dialect the same.
Yeah.
Kept his dialect the same, which, you know, it really spoke to who he was and how he got down. And it was, I mean, it was a great job. It was an excellent documentary.
Yeah. Felt like it was well done, and it made me want to get the book because I'm sure the book is gonna give you more details and what the documentary is.
Yeah, the book goes deeper into his life, and then it gives you more governance structure versus social structure. And that was it was a couple of instances where you saw governance structure shine through, and I really appreciated it. Yeah, man, it spoke to the community nationwide. Well, it should have. As many, if you watched it, you should really feel it.
Yeah, definitely. Because that is probably not the only, not probably. It's not the only area where this has happened.
Exactly.
And so yeah, you can definitely relate to it. Wilkes.
Yeah, no, I think like I've mentioned before, and I don't know which one came first. Maybe this sparked the 60 Minutes coverage of this. Actually, I didn't know anything about it until 60 Minutes had did a little segment on it, which was interesting to find out. Never, like one of the ladies said in the documentary, she said she'd never heard of it they didn't talk about it in school. I'd never heard of it. So I thought it was done well. I enjoyed it. Like I said, watching that 60 Minutes segment before this, and then this kind of going a little deeper because they didn't go into the Cujo side on 60 Minutes. So I like how they kept going a little deeper in the family of the Descendants. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Snowman in the morning in the building. Thank you for tuning in.
Snowman?
I think he's doing a live reaction show on the national championship game. So appreciate you coming through. Train Naturals in the building.
Ain't much more reactions left here.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Unless they turn us around real quick.
I don't know why I got it on. I might as well close it because it ain't nothing happening.
We'll keep y'all updated when or if TCU score again.
Don't worry about it.
All right, Doc, initial thoughts.
Yeah, let me get a plot. I think I normally do that before now, but we out of practice, so you skipped me. But that's all right. That's all right. We know you got to get your boy Wilkes in on it. Shout out to Trade Naturals before I get into this plot. And I still got them.
I still gotta get my product.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I ain't forgot. Yeah. I did join the page follow the page and stuff like that. I just ain't got around to ordering. And it ain't because I ain't broke. I promise you. I got the money. I ain't like the other folks who say I'm gonna get something and they ain't got the. I got the money.
Yeah,
I'm short on time, but long on money.
I'm gonna get it
too. Okay, so the plot: descendants of the survivors from the Clotilda celebrate their heritage and take command of their legacy as the discovery of the remains of the last known slave ship to arrive in the United States offers them a tangible link to their ancestors. So I think right off the bat, as soon as I heard that, I mean, it was interesting to me, right? Because I didn't know anything about what Descendant was about. In fact, when I was trying to search it, I was finding Descendant 1, Descendant 2, Descendant 3, and I don't know if it was animated or superhero stuff. Then I got into the porn and started showing Descendants on the porn side. So I stayed and watched that for about 30 minutes or so. Then I found the real Descendant.
You put that on slow mo. Oh, hold on.
Oh, wait a minute. I had to make sure it wasn't the one we were gonna review. I'm like, I know A-Top didn't suggest this.
We had to hit the track button on the VCR remote.
Oh, man. I think this is Theodora. Thank you for tuning in.
Blue Streak Free. She made a good suggestion on a movie too. I think I might have forwarded that to y'all.
Is that the one with Q-Tip?
Most Def.
Oh, Most Def.
Most Def, yeah. Something the Lord made.
Yeah. Something the Lord made. Yeah,
early 2000s or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's worthy. It would be a semi throwback, you know.
Yeah. And Most Def, he hadn't been in anything in a while. I don't know.
Yeah.
It seemed like he just kind of stepped back from kind of the limelight. I know he just came out with an album, I think, with Black Star maybe last year or so. But,
couple months ago.
And I didn't know. Yeah, and he I just got through watching the Kanye Genius documentary, and he was in that, quite a bit. So very interesting to say the least, man.
Oh, I'm sure.
Obviously.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Very interesting.
All right. So it's starting off with the beginning, and it talks about 1808, the international slave trade ended. And then 1865, Congress passed the 13th Amendment, abolishing slavery in the U.S. Now, then it kind of touched on Clotilda, which all pretty much started by a guy betting another guy to saying, wow, I wonder if I could still bring slaves in. That's really how the whole thing.
Slave trade was over.
Right.
And they around shooting the shit, kicking back some brewskis. I bet you I can still get some of them Negroes over here. You know what I'm saying? It's a nice way.
Right.
What was his name? Mayor was their last name?
Mayor.
You can't get the hell out of here. I bet you I can.
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
Brought a whole ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. And the fact that when he brought them over here, the amazing that they were there for 2 weeks before they decided, okay, now let's disperse them. So I don't.
Because I'm sure they were trying to hide them. That's another thing that that was some good information that came out that I would not have assumed. Right, is that they were trying to hide them. I'm figuring shit. We here now. Ain't nobody gonna bother us because we got another ship of slaves. They gonna probably be happy about it, especially in Alabama.
My thing is,
but they trying to hide them until they decide, okay, how we gonna disperse them, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, yeah, I guess that's
a lot of it was kind of hush hush.
Yeah, that kind of answered my question. I was gonna say, I wonder why they just didn't abandon the ship. I mean, you really trying to hide, but I guess it would lead back to them because it's after the slave trade, so you can't leave the evidence, I guess. But
which is why they did what they did, right? Which is, burned it and in the conflicting reports by the players involved as to what they really did. Remember, one of them said, well, we sent it off about a mile down the river and then we sank it. Then the other one's like, no, we sank some of it right here. Then, et cetera, et cetera,
Yeah, leading people off the path off the trail, so they wouldn't find any traces of it.
Right.
So Cujo Lewis was the last descendant that was in the book. So Zora Neale Hurston interviewed him, and that was back in 1927. And that book wasn't released until 2000 or published until 2018.
It was in a vault.
Right, because they had it locked away, meaning they didn't want anybody to know, meaning they wanted to hide the truth, but the truth will come out sooner or later.
Yeah, they try to make sure
no matter how much you try to hide it.
Right.
Yeah, they don't care if it's gonna come out. Just make sure I ain't living, so I ain't got an answer to it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So I thought that was quite amazing, and I thought Zora lived. I thought she lived longer than that, but she passed away. Let me pull up the exact date. That was 1960. And I thought it was interesting that she didn't have a tombstone. So I don't remember who, but somebody went out of their way to make sure she had a proper tombstone because she didn't have anything there. I don't know, A-Trap, you know who?
I don't know who did it, but it was a tragedy. It's a few people out there that you would assume, like Madam C.J. Walker didn't have a tombstone for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's more prominent than we believe, as far as prominent African Americans passing away and not having proper grave markers and stuff like that. That's big time. Especially ones that died in the 60s and early 70s and 50s. I mean, we literally about 5 years or so ago, maybe 7 years or so ago, in my family, we all pitched in to get tombstones for some of our grandmothers and some of her relatives and stuff like that, because they didn't have them, unmarked graves, for lack of better terms, or poorly marked, right? Makeshift,
Yeah. So there was just, I think there was just so much information in that I didn't know out of this story, and it kind of talked about Africatown was where they called that particular city in Alabama. Then they later called it
Plateau
cities.
Plateau and Magazine is also referred to. And I guess all of them, A-Trap, you can correct me on this, I guess all of them are close to the bigger city is Mobile. Because you remember
dropping Mobile.
It came to the mayor and some other people. That was the city that's, I guess, closer to those towns. So maybe they were unincorporated at the time, or I don't know what the deal was. But Mobile had a big role in what Plateau, Magazine, and of course Africatown, which are all the same, were doing.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I'm just like, that's sad, because you can clearly see what it was. They probably didn't have a city charter because those were enslaved people. By the time they were recognized, they were just enslaved people who purchased land.
Right.
So if you don't have a city charter, that means the comptroller controls your town, and you saw the comptroller screwed them over as the movie proceeded.
Right. And plus, that's what allowed, because again, it being unincorporated, unchartered, then that means you got no zoning, taking place, not the proper zoning, if any, and all these, paper mills and chemical refineries and all that other kind of stuff, which, it's been big budget movies about refineries and that kind of stuff. And the numbers of people that end up with cancer in those communities that are close to those industrial places because of wastewater, people, just wastewater alone, that they getting rid of, not to mention the toxins that are being burned and put into the air, so they getting it a number of ways, right? They probably getting it in their drinking water and unacceptable microparticles. Right, if they test it to water, even if your water, I got news for you. Read the damn test on your own water, and you're gonna be shocked at the shit they say. Oh, that's good. It's only 1 part per million. You can take that. So imagine those communities and how much, how many particles and stuff like that were in the water. So yeah, it's like A-Trap said. If you're uncharted as a city. When they get chartered, you're gonna get taken advantage of. What you think it ain't gonna do before you get chartered? Forget about it.
Because they already looking to take up that space anyway.
Right.
Yeah, and plus what I liked about it, what I don't know if y'all picked up on this, but they talked about the way they built around it to hide the community.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, like they surrounding it with the stuff. So they getting it on all sides. So it don't matter. You can see them walking in and out just to get to their house. If I'm walking down the street, I got to pass by a refinery or a paper mill or whatever the case may be, just to get in and out.
Yeah, and they literally have to pretty much. I wonder how often they have to fight off people trying to come in and buy the property. I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure frequent.
I'm pretty sure it's frequent. Because if you don't, then it's a lost town. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I believe they were fighting. So I mean, that's why I believe those refineries came there, because if you don't have a charter, we can do what we want to do when we want to do it, and which leads me to believe, really had disdain for the governor of Alabama.
Mobile. Yeah. Oh, the governor
of Alabama, and the dude, even the dude from Reader's Digest, he kind of made my stomach turn as well, because they thought it was some type of happy occasion, and even the dude who was helping, he was like, "Yeah, I don't know about how happy this is."
Yeah.
And you could clearly see that the state government planned to destroy those people. You don't put a refinery there. You don't put a paper refinery there. You don't put an oil refinery there. You don't have toxic waste. That was all to destroy those people as fast as humanly possible and put them in a situation to whereas we're going to erase this whole thing.
Yeah.
And that dude, that one dude, I can't remember his name, the white guy with the white hair, he made it possible because he wasn't playing these games, because he was a true human being. And he said, no, this ain't cute. This ain't cuddly. This ain't fun. You can even tell the disdain he had when they made it National Africa Day in Alabama. And he was like, no, man, this ain't fun. Yeah. Y'all screwed these people. And it kind of bothered me a little extra, because the funny thing is some of those people look familiar to me, and my family's from Alabama. And I'm sitting there going, I wonder if these people related to me. It really wasn't cool at all. I went into it, I watched it again today, and I went into it like, that's what I'm looking at. The one lady who had the family tree, she looked familiar. She kind of looked like my Aunt Laura, and I'm like, it is insane if this lady might actually be related to me, and I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. And she was really the informer really of all of this. It seemed like she was teaching a class at one time outside, kind of saying, "Hey, this is where we are. This is who we are, and it's because we don't know who we are." And that's a lot.
Right.
I'll be honest. That's a lot of reasons why we react to things the way we react to things, because we do not know who we are.
Yeah.
So we're always yearning to want somebody to. I've said this before. Want somebody to save us. We want Deion to save us. We want Jesse Jackson to save us. We want all these people to save us. They're only here for a time. They're only here for a period, and none of those people can save us.
Yeah.
But I think when we know our history, then we can,
save ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. and that's one of the things that struck me early. They talked about, this was probably within the first 5-10 minutes. They talked about being called direct descendants. They called themselves direct descendants, but the other folks of the town, the white people of the town, that's one of the Africans. That's how they was even referred to in the schools and stuff like that. Oh, you're one of the Africans, versus no, we're direct descendants, and the hush nature. That was, like they couldn't talk about certain things and stuff like that. Like, imagine, you got basically direct descendants, one of the last, people to be brought over on a slave ship, and they're incorporated into society, and they can't talk about how we got here. You know what I'm saying? They don't talk about none of that, because again, they came toward the end of slavery, right? And they talked about some people, they were like that, so their mentality was different. They didn't think like slaves, they still thought like Africans. Right. So which spilled into them doing things like telling their stories to pass it down, right? One of the things that you hear Adrian talk about quite a bit on the Fourcast is when we do documentaries like this, is getting that information from our elders and sitting down and listening to them, whether it be recipes or whether it be somebody mentioned dialect early, how somebody said something or what it meant or whatever. And sometimes you got to have purposeful conversations with our elders that turn into passive conversations, because sometimes you're going to get information passively that you wouldn't have got by sitting there, because they're not going to be able to remember it all. So you got to just be simply having regular conversations, right? Yeah. Some of them are, we just going to shoot the shit, and some of them are very purposeful, you know. And I like the fact that the people in that area took time to do that. In fact, they even gave that individual a name, and that's called the treasure keeper. Okay, and that means that that you're responsible. You got stewardship over this history. So and they properly identified it as being treasure, right? Because this is treasure. Right. This is, you hear people say health is wealth. Well, this history is wealth, right?
Yeah.
Where we
information as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's wealth, So they had a treasure keeper, and they identified them specifically. And it was the individual. Think about it. We all know somebody in our family who was drawn to the elderly, the elderly people in our family to listen to their stories. And somebody like, man, we done heard that story 10 times, but that same individual's like they're listening to it like it was their first time being heard, right? Yeah. Those are the treasure keepers. Those are the people who they said, okay, you got a natural knack for this. That's what you were born to do.
Yeah. Perfect term right there. Yeah.
It's actually a terminology in African language they call domers and jollies. A domer, like you would look at like a domer is almost like a hype man. He'll tell the story, but he's gonna add some flavor to it to make it interesting. But that's a jolly. He's just gonna spread it. A domer is a dude who he takes an oath to record everything word for word. He will not lie. He will not exaggerate. He will not do anything. It is. And then he walked up the road, and it's this famous story of a domer. And with him, he helped a woman get away. And they are so dedicated to telling the truth. He helped a woman get away from some enslavers. And he told them, no, I don't know where she at. And they knew, and the people knew what his position was. So they trusted him. And after he helped her get away, he stepped down as the domer because he told a lie.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And one of the things they said, and I put this in all caps when I was taking notes, they said, so they gave an example. They're like sitting by the fire telling stories to pass it down so we can tell the story how they told it. So they were very particular about that. We're not going to tell the story in our own way. I'm not going to put the Dawkins flair on it, the King Doc flair on it. If H-Rap is the elder and he's telling me, I got to tell it the same way he told it. Right. So, in order to tell it the same way H-Rap told it to me, he can't just tell it to me one time. We got to be constantly talking about it. And by the time I started telling it, it's almost as if I was there because I done heard the story 25 times. I had a father-in-law, back when I was in my old life, when I was married. And my father-in-law, man, he used to tell all these stories, back in the day. And my ex-wife and my brother-in-laws and all those, they were like, dang, he's so happy to have you in the family because he got somebody to tell his stories to again, Yeah. And we made a joke of it to where I said, to save us time, I'm just going to say number 23. We going to start laughing. 37, because that's the numbers of the story. But I legitimately enjoyed telling them. And now, believe it or not, and this ain't even people in my family, believe it or not, my best friend, when we sitting at the barbershop, he'll say, tell me what Pop said about such and such. Tell me how he said this. Tell me how, because now he's even interested in the funniness of the story, and the interesting nature of the story, So if we really took time to do that with our families, you'd be surprised at what people turn into. Yeah. I'll give you an example. How many cooks we got in our family that we don't know as cooks because they haven't been properly inspired? Oh, man. Imagine the difference between this young kid who may take an interest in that if they knew, Madea made that And everybody used to want to make Medea to make it. And in fact, she used to take some down to the sheriff's office, and the teachers in the school used to always, they knew that. They'd be like, I want to start making my cornbread like that, or my macaroni and cheese like that, or my Virginia ham like that, if they knew the background of it. Or if they knew, Papa Joe used to sit on the porch and whittle all the time, and he started doing stuff with wood. There may be a carpenter in the family that's got some natural born or supernatural skill that you won't be able to ever awaken because you're not doing some of those things, telling some of those stories that you probably should be telling, and getting the ancestors involved in your prosperity today.
Oh, you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's how it gets properly turned down or brought down, is through telling it and through getting the younger ones involved. And so I want to kind of rewind back. The gentleman at the very beginning, salute to him for taking the time to not only continue to research, because he was a diver, he was a swimmer.
Okay, so you're talking about Kamuz Siddiqui?
Yes.
With the Slave Rex Project. Yeah, he was the diver.
Yeah, the diver. Yeah. And just the importance of our ancestors and the importance of the things that he showed. And then when you fast forward to the end, teaching the kids how to swim. This is exactly back to what Doc was saying. Like, we as Black people, a lot of times, when you say water, when you say pool party, that doesn't actually mean getting in the pool.
Nobody's swimming.
I think standing around the pool, putting your feet in there with a solo cup in there.
And for some reason, my apologies for dominating this particular topic, but I cannot let this go, man.
Good.
And that I got a vision, right? Like, so imagine A-Trap, right? All of his podcast supplies and equipment and stuff like that. Imagine what would be his great grandson one day, right? BJ grandkids, and they come across a closet in BJ house and they find an old microphone that looks crazy to them. Like, what is this, that Papa? Or an old laptop or an old mouse. What is this, Papa? Well, your great-great-granddaddy used to do podcast. What is a podcast? Well, here, let me pull up some of them, and he do the touch screen in the air, because that's what it's going to be, right? He pull it up and he can see you talking about what is he talking about there? Then all of a sudden, now you got the next,
right?
You know what I'm saying? The next Oprah, because they got, interested in that, and that inspired them to do what they needed to do.
Brian Gumbel.
You know what I'm saying? Montel Williams, because the next Byron, what's the guy named Byron?
Byron Allen, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he's inspired because he got the story told, and he's like, man, and it's because sometimes they got something inside of them that cannot be waken up.
Right.
That will not be awakened because the proper motivation, the proper spark hadn't been lit. Gas ain't, if you don't put no fire with it.
Fire to it,
you can have a gas stove all day long, but it ain't gonna ever smell like no chicken in your house because your ass ain't never lit the fire.
Right. Yeah, no, you know exactly right.
You gotta light the damn pilot, man. People won't. I say this. I'm about to speak at this men's conference in a couple of weeks, and I say to them often, people do not aspire to greatness because greatness has not been mimicked to them. Greatness has not been demonstrated. Right. I used to invite my nephews and all that other kind of stuff to see me speak publicly in front of as many people as I could because I wanted them to see, well, dog, if my uncle can do that, I ain't scared to do that.
Exactly.
For this show, if my uncle can be, got balls enough to start a podcast or be on one or state his opinion without unapologetically, well, shit, I can do it then. And they won't even know it's being triggered. They won't even know the pilot is being lit, but because they saw you do it, I promise you, somebody is better off for what A-Trap does on a weekly basis, and he don't even know.
Yeah.
That's why you got to be doing what you're doing because it's the right thing, and you can't worry about sticking around to see the harvest. Sometimes you ain't gonna see the harvest. You think Moses is less important because he didn't make it to the promised land?
Right.
We couldn't have saw it if he wouldn't have took us there.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? It's not always about the ones that get to see it. It's the ones that made the way for us to be able to get to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. No, that makes sense. It's one of those things where it's like I'll set it up. I'll set up the alley oop, but you bring it home.
Yeah. The legacy. Somebody said it to a certain degree in this terminology. The legacy part is the greatness that you won't see. That's the legacy part.
Yeah.
It's not what you're seeing. Right. That you left something. Yeah.
I'll say ball. Keisha, thank you. I needed to hit.
Shout out to you, Keisha. Yeah, inspiring others.
I needed to hit a certain way.
Well, that's so true. That's so true. And I think we have to allow our kids to see us do what we do this podcast. That's why my daughter, she was bugging me for years. I want to do something. So we started a podcast, but being able to have them see what you do, because that's going to inspire them.
Yeah, and quit shutting them down. They come with something that sounds crazy. Quit, hell, and I know I was guilty of as a parent, probably. Man, get out, go sit down somewhere. I ain't got time to go be buying. That's why the first time I heard Amy McCants and Josiah McCants of give me the name of the show again, B.
Raising a YBK.
Raising a YBK. The first time, and I found out that kid liked art, I immediately cashed up us some money. Go help him get some more art supplies.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if they need little brushes or some lip paint, whatever. Go get him some. I want to pour into that so you can encourage what he's got a natural inclination for. You got to identify that stuff and pour into it. You might have the next genius on your hand, but because you're busy watching Young and Restless and All My Children in General Hospital, Luke and Lauren ain't gonna do no different shit than they done did the last 40 years.
Yeah.
Get up and take that kid to the arts and crafts store and let them do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're reviewing Descendant. It's on Netflix. It's available right now. I would highly recommend you watch it. And it was raw. I mean, they gave you the dialect of the people in that area. They didn't clean it up. They didn't try to present it as a polished product. They gave it to you the raw, because a lot of times the story is not told in the rawness. It's told in let's make it pretty, but this wasn't pretty. This wasn't a pretty situation.
Yeah, put this comment up. I guess if it's the Blue Streak Freak, she said, or being a cheap ass, support him. That's another great reason. You spending money on all your Dooney and Burks and Gucci and Lucci and Ferrarucci, but you won't get him $20 to go get something they need.
Screw them kids.
Yeah, man.
No, screw them kids. Get them back.
Get them kids.
Wow.
Yeah, matter of fact, one of the biggest ladies to get followers on social media, she a TikTok lady. And I think she a white lady, if I'm not mistaken, but her whole thing is F them damn kids. And she got hundreds of thousands of people following her.
Yes, you're right. Yeah,
you're going to get your hair done, but they can't go. You won't take them to the planetarium.
Right.
That's $17.
Planetarium.
You ain't gonna make them stars. I need this bag.
Right. Come on, man. Matter of fact, think about
your dreams.
Think about this, man. Right. Think about how many directors and actors and people like that say, I remember when my mom took me to go see Gone with the Wind, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. You never know when somebody's going to be inspired by something, man. Take them to a professional football game, or the movies, or to a concert, or to, and they see it in a different way and be like, wow, I never knew this is what I want to do, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. But now you got to get your nails done. To the what?
See Scarface, and I was like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, if you watched it all the way to the end, he was like, "Nah, I'm good."
That's why I cook catfish so good. Because my mama took me to Catfish Floyd's back in the day,
when it was good,
and there was a place called Mr. Catfish in South Dallas.
When it was good.
When it was good.
It ain't good no more.
Catfish Floyd.
Yeah. Nah.
When the last time you been, Wills? Because I swear I went a couple years ago.
If they still got the one, in South Dallas on Hatchet. That one didn't take.
No, it's in Oak Cliff.
Oh, is this the one? Is the one on Camp Wisdom?
I believe so, but on the other end, not the Camp Wisdom down by where the old
where the movie theater used to be. The main and Polk and Camp Wisdom, where the old movie theater.
I think toward that way.
Chopper Center right there.
Right at the edge of the street.
I'm gonna have to check them out. I'm
talking about with the tartar sauce. The tartar sauce.
Oh, the tartar sauce is always A1. The tartar sauce is A1. You eat that with
and they one of the few places around that still have serve fish the way our ancestors used to serve it, right? You know, like they doing it. They doing the whole catfish. They doing the whole perch, and they doing the, they frying it up like that. I know my mama shed tears if I took her to there to see how it's being fried, because she can't get it like that in a whole bunch of
nowhere else.
They don't understand. Our kids and grandkids and stuff don't understand. Hey, your grandma used to eat the tails of the fish,
right? And
they used to fry them hard, and that's what they wanted. They wanted fish tails just as much as they wanted the regular part of the fish.
Even at what's the one right there in South Dallas? Catfish Smith. Fish tails be flying out the damn door.
Yeah,
man.
She said you guys are inspiring, informative, and funny. Thank you. We appreciate you.
We try.
That's what we do. All right, we are going to pause for station identification.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Jeez,
that's us. That's us, dog.
By the way, the Horned Toad's getting destroyed over here.
Destroyed. They still haven't scored.
Like 50-7. It's like 56-7. So it's getting killed over here.
At least they got here.
I told my buddies, I said I expected this, but the shit still hurt there.
Hey, but like Doc said earlier, at least they made it. At least they paved the way. So that means the next class can come and
hopefully, because their recruiting should get much better, and they're gonna get some more athletes. Yeah. Hey, we got beat in the championship game, but with you, we can win. We can beat them next time.
Yeah.
They're not even top 5 in the state in recruiting. I don't think they are.
I don't think so.
But Sonny Dykes,
though, you got that.
He can coach.
And side note, Texas Tech gonna be nice too, because McGuire,
Joey McGuire,
he got whoever is on that roster, he got them boys playing. All right, so I wanted to get to so the paper mills. Well, hold on, let me back up. The guy that was standing, he was basically standing in the street, and he was kind of standing on the sidewalk, and that guy didn't get hit. He was like, "Yeah, we used to live over here," and then he turned around. He said the cemetery was over here. Like that part was inspiring. I felt like I've seen my dad do that before, where you come to a place and you're like, "This is where I lived, and this is where they lived." That was
oh man,
yeah. I felt like that was inspiring.
My grandma did that a lot in South Dallas and in Terrell, where you could see the plot was there. It may still have a few, cement blocks or something like that, but oh man, you get all kinds of stories.
Yeah, when I tell my kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, or whatever, and I try to explain to them, that's where they can't picture it at all, because it's all built up. And
right.
Doors, and it's a Kroger over there now, and it's a CVS pharmacy, and it's a dry cleaners, and all that used to be field, and this road wasn't here. They used to have to walk from, my mama tell me the story. They used to have to walk 3 miles to downtown to the grocery store, or get a ride downtown. But once they got their groceries, they never knew how we're going to get home. But we knew we just started walking back that way. Somebody
gonna see it.
So they were like that was just the thing. When my grandmother, she was expecting and she ended up having going into labor. My mama and her sister right above her used to have to, they say it was so pitch black. They like, it's a different kind of darkness in the world that you didn't have now. When you went outside, it was dark. And they like, we couldn't see nothing. And we was having to hold hands and just hope we walking across this field and just hope we don't come across no snake or no, nothing like that, or no wild coyotes being out there. And nothing. Got to go to a neighbor's, and back in the country, them houses is miles apart.
Yeah, miles apart.
We used to try to go get Mr. Johnson so he can give us a ride to the hospital. That kind of stuff.
Right.
Man,
Hope we make it there.
So that's why I get emotional, man, about the kind of stuff. The Lord done blessed you like this. And you got nerve where you done came from, where your own mama didn't have XYZ, and you got nerve enough to try to act funny because you had a bad day at work.
Yeah.
And your ass live in a $400,000 house. You better sit your ass down somewhere and be quiet. You know?
Your $5 ass.
Yeah. And you got a nerve not to be appreciative of what we got.
Right.
Where we came from. That's the thing. You want to irritate me? Act a fool about what life is giving you today, considering where you came from.
Trust me. Hell, I don't even have to go back that far. Hell, I remember me and my mom, man, I was eating manwich sauce out the can.
Yeah.
Why do you think I cooked the way I cooked? Because
you know how many people if you don't know what manwich sauce is, your ass is blessed.
I don't know
and you better be quiet.
Because there's been many nights I've had to open a can of manwich sauce just to see what we gonna eat. Because that was it. And I ain't talking about pouring it on nothing else.
No.
Just straight out the can.
Yeah.
With a spoon. And if I had a spoon, we drink it.
If he was to eat a sloppy, that's sloppy Joe sauce for some of you folks who don't know.
Right, in case you don't know what manwich.
If he was to eat a sloppy Joe tonight, a tear probably run down his damn teeth.
He can cry when he eat that sandwich.
Yeah, that manwich sauce saved my life some nights.
Yeah, they think noodles and struggle meals. What you would have did for some dog noodles, man, back then.
I'm making noodles now.
Yeah, that's right. Think about that, man.
Yeah.
And let me catch you being depressed about something, man. I'll put a foot so far. Yeah. If you don't get your ass in there and make some more stromboli or whatever the hell you cooking today, you know what I'm saying?
Right. I'm gonna throw something together.
Yeah, which is why you got to have people around you, man, who have the proper perspective, man, and who can keep you on that gratitude train, man. Because if I'm telling you, as soon as the gratitude stop, the train stop.
Right. Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Last station.
Yeah. A-Trap, you wanna?
No, I was just
anything else to that?
Like I was talking about food, and it made me think about this interview I was listening to with Dr. George DeGroot. And
I think you got an echo. Somebody got an echo.
Yeah, it ain't me. I ain't even got an echo.
Could be me. Is it me?
But it was like y'all were talking about food and how you can pass down those recipes. It was talking about how you pass down recipes.
It's me.
As soon as you
God damn it.
It's like it's always me.
It's always me. That's okay. Because I got this mic right here. I got two mics. The mic.
Hey, Will, the devil is unhappy.
Always.
You see what I'm saying? We helping somebody.
The devil is always busy.
And he's not happy because your ass is making your own pasta.
Yeah, my own pasta. Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, go ahead, A-Trap.
Yeah, it was. You know how you was talking about food, how cooking and things are passed down, and she brought up she's a vegetarian and she loves beans, and she said, you never realize what your elders are doing. There's an enzyme in beans that clogs arteries faster than red meat and pork.
Wow!
And the way you kill it is to soak the beans overnight.
Yep.
Or
that's classic.
Cook them for an hour.
Yeah.
And when y'all was talking about how you need to pay attention to people as they cook, maybe our ancestors did know it was something in beans that you had to let.
Oh yeah.
Because you had a bean gravy.
Oh yeah, no. A-Trap is 100%. I can't tell you how many times my grandma soaked some red beans.
Yeah, now wait a minute. A-Trap, finish that. You said the bean gravy. What about the bean gravy?
No, I'm saying that's how you thinking you just making bean gravy because you let it soak overnight.
Right, gotcha.
But what you're doing is bleeding the poison out the bean because it comes from Donk will remember, y'all won't. Back in the day, they used to have DDT for crops. Then the DDT would kill the bugs, but it was killing you too.
Right.
But the second crop of crops, the bugs have adapted to the DDT, and it's just killing people. So the elders were like, "We're gonna sit these beans here. We're gonna go to bed. We're gonna get up in the morning. It then bled out the stuff that clogs your arteries." And maybe, as Doc said, maybe they don't tell you that's what they're doing, but when you watch and see them do it,
it may inspire
you instinctively do it.
Yeah. Like I do that now. I thought, that it was okay. They getting the gas off of it. If you do this, you won't get this gas. Beans will make you so gassy. That's what I thought the deal was, and it may be both, right? It could be, both, but I don't make no beans when I soak them.
Right.
Yeah. Or you cook them for an hour. You have to either soak or cook them for an hour.
Yeah. And I joke with my wife with the black eyed peas, for New Year. But now I'm thinking it's some type of tie to that. That goes back. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't think it's just luck. I think there's more to it.
There's more to it. Yeah.
If I have a New Year's Eve get together at my house, you can believe it's going to be a pot of black eyed peas and some cornbread made in a cast iron skillet. I can guarantee you, and I promise you, taste that when you done kick back a few and stuff like that. I got people who don't even eat black eyed peas that be like, God dog, these black eyed peas. They used to get forced to take a tablespoon of it to where now can I take a bowl home? So you better believe it, I'm doing it.
Yeah. So during the part of the documentary when they went to the paper mills and they were like, yeah, so where's the bodies? Where's the tombstones? Which they built the paper mills, they built the pipeline and all that directly over the bodies.
Of course. Just like
what better way to hide something than to build something on top of it?
Right.
And if you don't realize this, it's a place in Florida that they digging up right now. The hurricane turned the building upside down and they found our ancestors there. Seneca Park, which they call Central Park in New York, is the same thing. And some people even go as far as to say part of the situation with the World Trade Center is because that was built on top of an African graveyard.
Wow.
So,
I can believe it. It's crazy.
Nothing surprises me at this point. If you can get what you want, then you will do whatever it takes. You will harm whoever, you will sell whoever.
At some point, they were able to sue the paper mill. And they won.
Yeah.
And guess how much they got? About $200.
$200. We got you. No, go get some scratch offs. Yeah. Yep. $200. Wow.
Kirby Alexander in the building. He said all that food talk. Yeah.
Sometimes that's the easiest way to connect, man. It's so much. I mean, think about all these documentaries that we've watched, man, at how food keep coming up as one of those things that serves as a link, man. And you don't know the significance of what you're doing,
Well, just kind of like what Doc is saying right now. I mean, even the Bible speaks of preparing a table in the midst of your enemies. I mean, there's a meal, there's it's more than just the physical food.
That got to hit different, don't it?
But
it hit different. Now let me just interrupt you with a vision of that. The slaves in their shacks.
Right.
And they still cooking this food from home. And you don't think they in the presence of their damn enemies?
Right.
But they still, you tell me right now, that food, I can taste it. It
was definitely, when we say made with love, it was definitely made with love.
Man.
And then another thing is when you don't have anything, nutrients is how you make sure the next person, the person lives. I don't have nothing but food. So to show you love, I'm going to feed you. Wow. And that helps you get to the next day.
Back to
and how many times have you heard somebody say, I made it just like her recipe was, and then mine don't turn out like her? How many times you done heard that, man?
Right.
It's more than just what's written down on that paper. There's something else with it. See, the banana pudding. Reason why your banana pudding ain't hitting like it's supposed to, you ain't willing to put in the time to stand at that stove and just stir and stir. And stir and stir.
Let that long back start hurting.
You're trying to write it.
Hey, a prime example. Doc and Wilkes. I invited y'all to that chili cook-off.
Yeah, I hate I missed it.
It's good. But the person that won, she upset so many people because she said, "This is my first time making chili. I was just putting stuff in there." Hey, everybody was like, "No,
that's it."
I was just
you don't have to overcomplicate it.
She's a great cook.
Wow.
So she said, I put something special in there. I'm not gonna tell y'all.
Yeah.
But she said I was just putting stuff in there.
Nah, hell no, man.
That messed people up when she said
she done dipped a big toe in there or something.
Yeah, that messed people up when she said
matter of fact, that's y'all done seen me posting the chili and stuff I've been making. That's my first foray into chili. I never made chili before, but now I got people requesting it. They're like, man, can you make some more of that chili? I ain't made it before,
Yeah.
But when I cook anything, I'm cooking with a certain mindset. I'm cooking with love on no matter what I cook. I don't care if I make you a sandwich. I want to make it to where I know if I do this, they're going to enjoy the hell out of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing it because I'm really trying to make sure people enjoy it.
Yeah, I've been trying to hang in there with Doug, man.
Whipping
them out.
Shout out to Golden Brooks.
What's that?
In the building. Golden Brooks in the building. Thank you for tuning in.
Golden.
We got Lloyd Phillips.
Living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden.
If you tuned in to the Facebook group, quickly go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Go over there real quick.
Man, the show about to be over. Now he telling me.
Hey, for next time. For next time. For next time. I gotta say it. All right. So they came to a point where Bill Foster was the one that made the bet. And Bill Foster's descendant was there at I think at that ceremony when they were awarding or making it Africa Town Day. And he clearly felt out of place, which he should have felt that way, being that his descendant was the one that started it, but he wasn't like, y'all should be glad I'm here. He seemed like he was there to meet the people and to actually interact. And that goes back to that needs to happen. We're not saying that you directly owe us because that was your descendant. We can't expect you to pay back what your descendant did, but we do expect you to come to the function or whatever it is and be willing to talk to people, interact with people, learn what their story is. And I felt like he did that. So I want to get y'all thoughts on that.
Is this the gentleman that said his wife didn't want to come with him? Is that the same?
He was actually felt like he was going to be in danger.
Yeah, he was. I recognized him immediately, and some of the other people here too, because like I said, 60 Minutes did a segment on this before this documentary. So he was in the documentary, kind of like just blown away, and kind of like what he said then. I was kind of just, I'm ashamed. Like this is crazy. Of course. Go ahead, H-Rep. I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. Finish.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's one of those things where it's like, even in that moment, and I think I've heard Dog say this before in H-Rap, it's like luckily the black community, black people don't want revenge. Because as he said, wow, I felt so welcome. I was like, yeah, because I'm not even asking you to apologize. Just acknowledge and act like you know that this happened.
Act like you care. Act like you give half of a crap.
Right. And I've said this before where I see comments about, oh, well, that happened so many years. Forget it. I can't forget about it. Because like that brother said, when he was in that house and those pictures were like, what are you doing here? You don't belong in this house. I'm already dead. But he felt that presence. Like those pictures didn't even want him there. So I can't forget about it when my soul literally feels the ancestors talking to me. Like I can't let go of that. No, I can't forget about it. No. How dare you ask me to forget about it when I go to like for example, if I go to Old City Park here in Dallas and I go to one of those homes and it's a slave shack that's no bigger than a closet or something like, and you want me to
shotgun shed.
Yeah, I can't forget. No, I can't. Right. Oh, we got the smokehouse, which you thought it was a smokehouse, but they smoking us
people.
Yeah, exactly. No, I can't forget. No, I can't.
And see, that's what made me turn into an Autobot called Hatertron, because I was pissed off watching this, and I'm like, ooh, that was my least favorite moment and my favorite moment within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
My least favorite moment is him walking up, acting as if he didn't know. Okay, you may not have known that your grandfather set this whole thing in motion, but let's not act like you don't know what was going on, man.
Right.
That's the thing to be pissing me off, and then everybody want to talk about hurting people's feelings. I had a cat that I know called me this week and tell me I'm too abrasive, and I'm like, nah, I just tell the truth. And if the truth rubs you the wrong way, then maybe you need to deal with the truth. And to touch on something that you spoke about, and it was like people always talking about, hey man, y'all need to get over it. It was 400 years ago. Well, you know, it was 70 years ago that war ended, right? And President Obama gave the Jewish community $20 billion. So when does that money run out?
Right.
And why is the United States paying that community? And never mind. And then my least favorite moment, well, my favorite moment of the entire documentary, same cat, he fishing for empathy. You in the midst of people who were captured,
right,
and forced into slavery, and beaten, whipped, and attempted to dehumanize, and you looking for empathy, and then the old brother was like, well, you know, my grandfather, they say he was a good owner. And
yeah, man.
Man, come on.
Yeah, good owner, bad owner, ain't none of it good, man.
Stop,
and then he politely
treated his people really well. That's from what they say. Right. But you could tell a couple of the brothers looking at him like,
no, that one brother said it. He was like, good owner, bad owner. Yeah, right. All right, you know, and if he'd have been off camera, he'd have said, all right, mom. You know,
yeah. The dude that had his hat on backwards.
He was looking, that old dark skinned brother socked him in his face. Yeah. Had he not been on film. And it was like, no, dude, ain't no good owners. You demoralize my people. You the reason. Look, at the end of the day, man, you the reason I'm over here struggling, because I don't know what I'd have been doing over there.
Yeah.
And that's why, man, you know,
that's why it goes, like the HRAS point, it goes on that guy's point, it goes back to that documentary we watched. He was talking about, you know, the guy was challenging him. I can't think of the name of the documentary, but it was like, I think what was our
race or something like that.
Yeah, he was he was like, oh no, they were treated as family. Who was family? The lashes on their back.
And I think somebody asked the question, oh, you treat your family like this?
Yeah.
Your family do this how you punish them?
Really? They were treated like family.
And he even asked them, okay, so I can own you one day?
So you hang one of your family members? I don't.
Yeah, man.
I don't understand.
Your family members can't leave as they please.
Right. Thank you.
And there was another thing that stood out, like, again, back to Cujo, man. You know, he was speaking from a governance point of view, and it really showed us that Ebonics is a real language, because language has rhythm, language has a means, language has content. And one of the beautiful things about being us in this country is you don't ever have to go to Alabama. You don't ever have to go to New York City. You don't never have to go to Washington State. You don't never have to go to San Diego, California. But when you walk up and they start talking about whatever, they start using this language, if you part of the diaspora, you don't go, huh? What? Like when you listen to rap music, they're using all this different slang from all these different quadrants of the country. And if you listening, it ain't 5 black people that's going, huh? What they mean by that? They're going, and one of the beautiful things about it, we catch it, and it sounds like all 4 of our mothers could be sitting in the room and they could be watching this podcast, and all of them can go, and we'll know what they gonna mean 4 different things. And all they gotta do is go,
right. Exactly. And, so, you're right. That's why I can't forget, because black people are connected in ways from different parts of the United States, different parts of the street, cities, whatever it is.
Right.
Hell, I don't care if they're black Frenchmen.
It's like you can be the most ugly person in the world and you'll understand it. You may not ever use it.
Right.
Yeah, but you'll understand it.
Yeah, but you should have said it this way. Yeah. And you're like, nah, I shouldn't.
Right. It's just something there in the DNA. It's just something there.
Yeah, you genetically predisposed to dig this thing, and people don't understand it. And I'm glad they don't understand it, because when I was hearing Cujo talk, it literally made the documentary for me.
And I'm glad they didn't. I mean, she was even reading it the way he spoke. And I like that. And actually, you can listen to the entire thing on YouTube, but you can buy the book too. But they have it on YouTube, like the whole hour of the audio. But still, I mean, she was reading it as he was speaking it in the same dialect. Like there was no.
And I think that's how she spoke, though.
Yeah,
I think that was just her dialect. Yeah.
Right, and they
No,
mentioned it a few times.
no, that was Cujo. That was
his. Yeah, she was speaking his like the way he spoke. She was like reciting it back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was Cujo's language.
That's why they were saying that they're glad that it was kept in his diet, like in his.
Yeah.
But
being the reason why you can see it as her just talking that way naturally, that tells you that she wasn't putting on for the documentary.
Right.
That's what she does in reverence to them all the time, you know. Right. So now she damn near got it down, you know, packed.
Pretty much.
I bet you sometimes she catch herself talking a certain way, like, God, dog, you know, because she's so much, right? So it may have now become
the funny thing about this, watching this, you know, when I was growing up, I mean, you know, I still have neighbors that are still living and some have moved on in my old neighborhood. And I listen to the way they speak because they're from Crockett, Texas, or they're from Palestine, or, you know, and they're from Gilmore, Mount Pleasant. And I listen to them speak. And it's like, in watching this, that it's not an error on their part. This is a thing where it's like, okay, well, this is how they pronounce things. This is how they speak. Something is there deeply embedded.
Yeah,
you know,
see, I'm gonna give you an example. So because I do that a lot. Like we got a lot of country folks that we even talked about East Texas and Mount Pleasant, some places like that, Queen City, Atlanta, Texas, all those. And so sometimes when I'm talking to my cousins and sisters, and you know, we having a family gathering, I'm talking and I'm using certain terminology that I know, like if you were to sit there and listen, you'd probably be like, why are they cracking up? That what he said wasn't that funny. But it's how I said it. It's the terminology I use that they're getting the humor out of. Okay, that's how Uncle Buddy used to talk. Right. You know, that's how, you know, so they picked that up and they were like, God, that joke. But everybody else be like, I didn't see what was so funny, you know.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, I get it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, Century Entertainment got this clip circulating, internet announcement circulating for about 2 years. And he say when he went down south, they speak in a whole nother language.
Right.
He said, dude say, call me by my initials.
By my initials. I just saw that. Matter of fact, I posted, and I was surprised that a lot more people picked it up because I just expected my friends and family to pick it up. But when I put on there, you need to get in there and bathe.
Yeah.
And so many people got in there and they were cracking up and they were, you know, and I'm like, I just thought our people knew that, but that's one of those terms that a lot of old black folks said, you know, you need to change your ass, you know, whatever.
Right.
You know, but it's just so amazing at how many people that normally comment on everything I say, they had nothing to say because they probably didn't know what the hell I was talking about. You know?
Oh, wow.
I get it. Whole cakes.
Yeah.
Whole cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what they were?
The hoes got to eat too, but I'm just like,
is that what she was making in the documentary? Because she said pancakes, and she was like, "These not pancakes."
Yeah, right. She said, "These ain't pancakes; those whole cakes, man."
That's okay. That's what. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you're urban now, they're hot water cornbread.
Yeah, hot water cornbread.
Urban. Yeah, that's the term they use.
Do y'all got anybody in y'all family that make tea cakes?
We used to, and we had a neighbor, Miss Barkwell. She makes a mean tea cake.
See, that's what you need to bring back, Wilkes.
The tea cakes.
That used to be a thing, man.
Yeah, tea cakes was Miss Barkwell would make.
That used to be a thing, dude.
Miss Barkwell, I never that.
Yeah. And you know what's funny about that sort of thing, man, is that it brought a sense of community. Because how many times did you make tea cakes at the house and only the people at the family ate it? Never.
It
was a community meal. It was a community treat. You know, it's like that was the thing. I'm making tea cakes. Yo, Aunt Thelma wants some, or yo, you know, Miss such and such wants something. That's what they did.
To Doc's point, on 2 levels, Miss Barkwell would make tea cakes and send them home with me to give to my grandmother and my family or whatever. Well, on the other side, my grandmother would make Christmas fudge with pecans or no pecans. And she would have me outside with a tin, going across the street, going up the street,
dropping
off fudge because she made fudge for the neighborhood, for those within that region. So that absolutely. Dog
goes right back to the love being shared through food.
Right. Yeah,
I mean, I grew up in a time where you could go next door and borrow a cup of sugar and borrow some salt.
No doubt. No doubt.
I don't. That that's not heard of these days. That's long.
Yeah, people will look at you crazy if you when they start asking for a cup of sugar or something.
Yeah, they're gonna be looking at you. Yeah,
they be trying to kiss you. Let me get some sugar. Hey.
He don't even know you heterosexual.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Don't come for me. LGBTQ. Don't come. You can't cancel the words. You got nothing to be canceled. Hey, what you gonna cancel?
Right.
You gonna give me some free time, mother.
Time off. Yeah.
I want to get to this question. It's a little off topic, but that's what we do. And he's talking about Kevin McCarthy and this political. So this kind of ties to this because it goes back to the point of I'm gonna get what I want. I don't care about the people. When they say the people, I just want to punch them in the mouth. You don't care about you never care about the people. Your thing is I want the power. Exactly what this dude Bill Foster wanted. He wanted the power. He wanted to be able to show that we have the upper hand no matter what the government says, no matter what law was passed. And that's exactly what goes on in politics every day.
Right.
I vote because I think it's the right thing to do and because of what our ancestors did.
Yeah.
But you can't 100% believe in this system because it was never for us, never by us. And the people that are there, they don't care about the people.
Absolutely.
Period.
And they kill me. And to Ben's point, when I watch stuff like that and the speeches that they give, the American people have been waiting a long time. What American people? Who have you been talking to?
Who are you talking about?
What American people are you watching?
What exactly are you doing?
Right.
Or what is your if it wasn't about the power and you had to do this for free, none of them would be doing it.
Right.
None of them would be doing it. If it was out of the goodness of their heart, none of them would be doing it.
It's just another way to establish wealth for their family. That's underlining pretty much.
With the insider trade.
Right.
Because if you have to vote on a company getting approved, you don't think part of that $200 million that Nancy Pelosi is worth came from Pfizer and that damn vaccine.
Come on, man. Of course. Absolutely.
So
you put money in my pocket.
We're all going to invest in Pfizer and then we're going to approve the vaccine.
Right. Absolutely. Right. I mean, come on, man. Hey, only rich people are running for office. There's no poor people.
I bet you none of them invested in Johnson & Johnson.
But here's the thing. They don't want to hear about poor people running for office because that's where the actual American people.
That's where they are.
Look at it this way. Before Barack Obama was president, that cat was paying on his student loan.
Right.
He's no longer paying on his student loan.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Why
he
should
paid it off before he got in office?
Nor should I.
Let's not forget he was a best-selling author before he got in office. He was like, all right, I don't have so much money that I'm going to pay the student loan.
Right.
Yeah.
Not even think about it.
It's all.
You got anything you want
to at all?
Yeah.
At all.
Right.
Because the shit they ain't even trying to hide the shit that much.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So what
they're wide open with it.
You got the cat up in New York.
60 to 7
on the school, man.
65 to 7.
65 to 7, bro. Sorry.
Call this game. Throw the towel in.
They playing John Madden on easy. Man. What the hell
They're playing on novice.
Playing John Madden on easy. Rookie, bro.
Pass the sticks.
Wow. Yeah, really. Pass the stick. This is when somebody pulled the remote out of the. When they knock the TV over.
They give you to halftime. Like, hey, man, you don't score the first time.
First 21.
If you get down 21-0, it's
over. It's over.
Oh yeah, pass the sticks. Yeah, you're right.
Pass 21-0. Pass the rope, man. Pass the control. It's over.
All right. So the last couple things I want to get to. Most of the land is owned by the state of Alabama in that area. I don't know if y'all peeped that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
The other thing is that they found pieces of La Clotilda May 22nd, 2019, which they got to that, which I mean, that was a monumental moment, obviously with the magnitude of this being the last ship. And so I felt like that was the, the high peak of it. So I don't know if you guys wanted to share anything on those 2 points before we wrap it up.
Well,
I was just kind of amazed at the fact that that ship tried to die twice. You burned it, it sank. Then you go back, now you're trying to blast it. But I still remain pretty much. So it's like you just still trying to cover it up.
Yeah.
But it's still going to, come to light. So it was just one of those things where they were trying their best to get rid of that ship, but it just unlocked a lot of different things. But that's really about it, the way I felt about it. Yeah. And like the lady said, she didn't want it to be about the ship, but I mean, I was kind of on the fence with that one, because how could it not be a little bit about the ship to get to this point of the story? But I understood.
Yeah, no, I think she meant she wanted it to be about the people.
Yeah, right.
Not the ship.
Yeah, exactly. Because without the ship, there's no people. But
right, because if you focus on the ship, then the pain and suffering is forgotten.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Good point.
Absolutely.
But and that's the part that you asked about, Ben. That's why I hated the governor, because you knew.
Right.
And even if you wasn't the governor then, somebody knew. You ain't just getting the politics when you walked in the door.
Right. You knew and you still know.
You knew, you still know. That's why you hurried up. That's why. And if you noticed, that's a Republican governor in a state that's 40% black. So we got the numbers, but we not participating because we just watching the train go by.
Yeah. And a lot of people feel like their vote does not count. Yeah. And the more people that feel like that, the more it does count.
The more you get these industrial wastelands covering up the lies that they tell and propagate.
Right. Exactly.
It's a place in Louisiana that make Africatown look like the Bahamas. Like 42% of their population has cancer.
Wow. That's crazy. 4 out of 10. Wow.
Yeah.
And we got a paper mill near us in Forney. Is there one or two of them?
Shit,
on the 80 side, there's one.
Let me tell you something.
But I know there's two.
Let me tell you something. In the neighborhood I was born into, 800 West, it was this community called Jewtown where all the Jewish people own stores. And then, black people in the middle. Once you cross, that was 800 West. When you get to Damon, that's 2000 West. From Damon on, they had this barrel company across Damon, and it was about 2300 West, which is like 4 blocks over. It was a barrel company. It was Acme Barrel, and they used to call that part of the neighborhood Germ City.
Wow. Germ City, because you could just smell it from 3-4 blocks away.
Yeah.
Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny. As we're talking about this, I mean, just like
Acme Barrel.
Just talking about this, here in the Dallas area, Joppy, the city of Joppy. It's surrounded by train yards and and prostitutes and all that shit. But it's
where's that at again?
Joppy? Yeah. Over there by Linfields, right there, 075. Right there. Yeah. But another town that's been, closed up and
a stationary lot lizards.
Yeah, pretty much. They don't go far.
A lot lizard. Damn.
We got Flying J for that.
Yeah.
We got Harry Hines for that too.
Yeah.
No, that too.
All right, let's get to this rating. We do it 1 through 5 mics, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. Doc, go to you first.
All right, I'm gonna give it a 4. I have to be careful, because again, what we do can easily be influenced by emotions, right? Because it's so emotional for me. I still want to look at the aspect of the presentation of the documentary, right? And what would intrigue somebody else or inspire somebody else or be impressive to someone else may not be impressive to the other individual, right? There's a reason why they did it raw. They gave it to you raw. They didn't try to dress it up and make it overproduced, if that makes any sense,
Right, yeah.
But I think it speaks volumes that Rotten Tomatoes gave this a 100%.
Yeah.
That doesn't That's
that's unheard of.
Right?
Wow.
IMDb 7.1 out of 10, 87% on Metacritic, and of course 51% of Google users. Right? Well, you know who that other 49% is. So for me, like I said, I gave it a 4, and to talk some about the emotions, man. Number one, picking up the New Orleans style and that music that was there, right? And the fact that they talked about how crying turned into singing, which turned into moaning. Think about how many songs that we got from our ancestors, and some of that made it to church and stuff like that. And you probably are thinking, I can't even tell what they're saying. It's almost like they're moaning. Well, guess what? Whenever you started singing because you were crying, it's going to be distorted in how you hear it. And it turns into moaning. But what do that word say about moaning and these utterance looks? Huh?
Hey, I heard your moaning and I heard you cry.
Him the one who got the power, man. Because at that point, you set aside all pride. You set aside all. You ain't trying to be the most dignified. You're the most astute, the most what is the word? What is the term being? Ecclesiastical candlestick. You ain't trying to be that. You done let it go at that point, and this is the raw you, and that's what's gonna allow you to push through. Become the raw you, and that'll what allow you to push through. Set aside all that pretense,
prim and proper, and everything,
and all that other kind of stuff. So again, I'm gonna give it a 4, and again, but the sentiment and the way it made me feel on the inside is a 5, Mike. But if I take all things into consideration, I'm giving it a 4, Mike.
Yeah. Hey, Trump.
I'm gonna give it a 5. The reason I gave it a 5 is because the presentation. There are subtle things that I don't want to just say the Obamas, but the producers of this, they left in there the language, the verbiage, the cooking, the family events. Yeah. And one thing that stood out the most to me that pushed me right into 5, I was going to give it a 4 initially. What pushed me into 5 is, I don't know if they did this intentionally, but when you heard our people talk about those people who was on that boat, they said the Africans, our ancestors, and so forth, our family members. And when you heard white people talk about them, they said the slaves. And I think that was intentional, because when you call people slaves and not enslaves, you're dehumanizing them. And I think they were highlighting the fact that even 150 years later, that they are still calling these people slaves. They are enslaved. They are forced into something. A slave is not a human, and they are dehumanizing you by doing that. Yeah. So that's why it was just so many layers. The country house. It was just so many things that was said that you have to be a part of the community to know. And they set those things apart. And to the naked eye, you're going, that's pretty cool. But to a person who's looking for this, and the person who's talking to the elders and the ancestors, connected to the people who are now from the ancestral realm, and they're talking to the elders presently, you heard those little subtleties. You heard, like when Cujo was like, we used to have to go up there, not over there, up there. So many little secrecies that they left in there that seemed natural to us, but if you're watching outside of the community, you're like, well, why was they talking like that? And then it helps you. So I gave it a 5.
All right, Wilkes.
I was actually going to give it I'll still give it a 4.5, Mike's. A lot of things that kind of stood out to me, because in the beginning, I liked how they showed that there was a society, or I guess it's not a society, but there was an organization, I guess, if that makes sense, for Black scuba divers.
Yes.
I love to see that because, we always kind of have this niche for, you're doing what them white people doing. What do you mean? What do you mean?
If you heard it,
not drowning?
Hey, I'm the poster child for that thought, right? If you know how many times I heard that.
Man, I mean, so it's good to see that, because we, it's like, oh no, Black people don't do that. What you mean?
Yeah, swimming with sharks, swimming with dolphins.
You're right. So I love to see things like that because also, like I told Ben, there's an organization out there now that helps Black businesses. It's a nonprofit organization. I think it's called like Green Sheet, not the newspaper back in the day, but or the Thrifty Nickel. But
yeah, you know what? That sounds vaguely familiar to me.
Something
man.
green. It's something I'm saying it wrong, but they help Black businesses get started. But I'm kind of drifting from my point. But the thing is that I like how it was done. I like how it was filmed. I like how they didn't try to polish the people. Mm-hmm. They let the people speak. They let the people dress the way they dress. They let them talk. That they weren't trying to, doll them up and make it when the camera was in their face. They not and the people didn't shy away from being who they were. They weren't trying to, as we say, speak prim and proper. They were just, hey, this is our life. This is what we talk. We country. This is what we do. Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I get 4.5 mics. I like the way it was directed and how it was produced.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it.
The 60 minutes kind of helped that too because I watched the 60 minutes documentary.
Yeah, I would say I'm gonna give it a 4. I don't remember the last time we watched a documentary to this magnitude and how well they broke it down, which I thought was great. Obama's being involved, obviously, that was a good look. But the fact that they talked to the people, they gave them an opportunity to talk, like we've been saying. Yeah. They even showed the old footage. I love that they showed. So they gave you every aspect of it. So I think it's a solid 4. And this was a good one. Definitely a good one that we did. So all right. So next week, Cowboys play on Monday night.
Be careful.
Ain't gonna be no next week.
If you want,
yeah. Even I got the pull for the Cowboys on that one. Man. Y'all got to get the act right now.
So we will not be on next week, but the week after, which is the 23rd, we're gonna do Intergalactic, which is also on Netflix. Another film I'm looking forward to seeing. It's an animated. It's all the way. The whole thing is animated.
I haven't even peeked at it. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll be doing that. That'll be on the 23rd. So
is it black voices in it, or is it black cartoon faces?
Black all the way through.
Really? I haven't even heard of this one. I have to check it out.
I think Kid Cudi is in it, right? He's one of the main.
Kid Cudi is one of the voices.
One of the main voiceovers in it. Wow, 65-7. That game is finally over.
Yeah, that game's done. They wrapped it up.
TCU better be running off the field after this one.
I don't want to hear Fourcast talking tomorrow. I don't want to hear.
All right, what's coming up tomorrow on End of the Bench?
I don't know yet. To be perfectly honest,
that's one of the best shows.
Yeah, I have. Well, no, actually, I'm gonna talk about one of the things. I'm definitely gonna talk about. Oh, I did one little change. Now I was pulled up my DraftKings.
Oh,
I bet
I'm about to say they definitely covered.
Yeah, I went over. Yeah. I ain't know it was gonna be that much over, but I did over. But now I'm gonna talk about affirmative action. They're trying to do away with affirmative action. It just shows you the disdain that white men have for everybody but white men. Because they have been dominating the set. Like 81% of money that comes from affirmative action goes to white women. And if you're gonna do away with it, and it's just a bunch of white men putting things in their wives' names so they can control it. But if you're gonna go as far as to do away with that, I'm gonna list a few things that white men have received that are via affirmative action. So when you have people going, well, everybody should be even and you shouldn't get any advantages, I'm gonna talk about that. And the rest of the show, who knows?
Surprise, mama.
Surprise. Boom, by surprise. Oh.
All right. Tomorrow, Queen and King.
Tomorrow's topic is communication hesitation. And it's a relationship show. So, we're going to kind of spark this off by watching this video that our producer, Ben Sutters III, also known as Trey, helped me gather. But about your wife tell you, just make sure, you tell me what you're feeling, share with me your thoughts. If you got anything that I need to work on, don't hesitate to tell me, and then the second they tell you, well, baby, I think you can do this a little bit better. Or, baby, I think all hell go break loose. And when he checked out and he gone, she said, well, you should have just talked to me.
I tried, baby. I tried.
Right. So we're gonna chop that up. So it ought to be a good one, and we will have a couple of special guests on there. One of them being Latoya Carter of Perspective. We call her Dot, and then Gary, the philosopher Freeman. So this ought to be interesting because they them two heavy hitters when it comes to nuggets. So I'm looking forward to what they finna drop on me tomorrow.
Definitely. All right, so before we get out of here, a couple things. The Fourcast now has their own YouTube channel. It's been a minute. So make sure to go subscribe there. It's youtube.com/the Fourcast. Very easy. Of the _Fourcast. Excuse me. Somebody already has the Fourcast. So you can subscribe there. We'll be back on the 23rd, like we mentioned. Make sure to add us on Roku TV. If you don't have a Roku device, go to bs3tvlive.com, and we will see you guys in a couple weeks and after the Cowboys lose. So I have a good one.
Man, come on, man.
Hey, I'm honest. You got to be honest, man.
I'm trying to support y'all next Monday, man.
Can't be selling wolf tickets over here, man.
I got to support y'all. Come on, man.
Yeah, looking like
my 49ers got to take care of Seattle, man. Come on, man. I got to support the Cowboys, man.
But we'll see y'all. We'll see y'all when we see y'all.
At least
A-Trap
get the number one pick in the
A-Trap closes out. I almost forgot.
It's true.
Dream those dreams, and man, I wouldn't believe those dreams. Because life without dreams flows in black and white. Life with dreams flows in Technicolor surround sound. And even though if it's a new year, if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.
Deuces. Praise.
Please.